Okay. Well, good afternoon and welcome to our special webinar today, the Top 50 Digital Agencies Reveal. My name is David Pryor, the editor of Prolific North. If I'm coming through reasonably loud and clear, can someone say so to that effect on the chat function? Jill, yes, loud and clear, tremendous, excellent. Right, well, I hope you are all staying safe and well and enjoying this prolonged sunny weather. We have almost 100 people registered today for what is an exclusive reveal of the 8th running of our highly anticipated annual ranking of the top 50 digital agencies in the North, alongside some no doubt fascinating insight from two of the North's most highly regarded digital agency CEOs. Now, before we come on to that, and I'll tell you a bit more about that, I think we just got one or two housekeeping issues. Some of you are already clearly very familiar with the chat function, but if you aren't, you can see that bobbing along on the right there. Perhaps it's another place on your screen, but certainly on the right on my screen. So do feel free to continue to do that. Google Chrome is the best browser to use if you aren't having any sort of issues. And if there are any issues on your browser, then just refresh it and you should hopefully resolve those. So we've got an hour today. We'll get kicked off at 5 o'clock, so it won't go any longer. Here's what's going to happen. Over the course of the next hour, we will be counting down from 50 to number 1 in 3 parts, from 50 to 31, 30 to 11, and you guessed it, the top 10. Breaking up that countdown will be a 2-part chat with our 2 special guests today. Dean Benson, CEO of Visualsoft, who's raising his hand in traditional fashion there, and Chris Attewell, CEO of
Hello.
Search Laboratory. Hi to Dean and Chris. Now, it's clearly a pretty exceptional time for digital agency owners everywhere, and I'll be chatting to them about some of the opportunities and challenges for agency leaders during this unprecedented time. Sure to be a fascinating session, and you will get your chance to ask your own questions. But before we get the countdown underway, I'd like to first welcome a company who has partnered with Prolific North on each and every one of our top 50 rankings and who continue to ensure they are completely independent and rigorously researched. So to talk a little bit more about what they do and the research that goes into the ranking, can I bring in at this point Richard Walker there from Mustard Research. Hi, Richard.
Hi, David. Thanks for the intro. I will be very brief, given that we've got quite a packed program. But just by way of an introduction, as you said there, David, I'll just quickly tell people a little bit about what it is that we do, a little bit about why it is we do what we do, and then I suppose it wouldn't be a webinar right now unless I did a quick sort of coronavirus state of the nation update in terms of how it's impacting on our sector. One of the other marketing disciplines, obviously, market research. So in turn, what we do, obviously, this is actually the 8th year that we've done the top 50 rankings. You may or may not know we actually partner with Prolific North on 3 rankings: the top 50 digital agencies, the top 50 PR agencies, and the top 50 integrated agencies. We take a multi-pronged approach to these rankings. Obviously, they are well promoted, as you'll know, by Prolific North, and a lot of agencies and business owners volunteer their key data to us, which is obviously verified and sense checked by looking back at previous iterations and previous years of the rankings. We do our own desk research, our own secondary research, of course. On top of that, there's a few different sources that we use for that. There's the Bureau van Dijk Fame database. No relation to Virgil or to Dick, as far as I'm aware. Obviously, Companies House as well. I obviously can't share the exact sort of formulas, the algorithms or the calculations for obvious reasons, but all of you that take part know what the key data is that we ask for. And of course, there's weightings, and we rank them in such a way that when combined, things like the headcount and the turnover and the growth and the shareholder funds, once we've used a consistent metric since day one, and that consistency is provided with a sort of fair year ranking, which we feel presents a good picture of where each of the industries are at present. So that's what it is that we do. Very quickly in terms of the why, I suppose for days like today. In seriousness, I guess, you know, every time there is a top 50 ranking, be that the PR, digital or integrated, we've got about 100 different organizations and business leaders that we're able to engage with. That's 300 different conversations, I suppose, that we're having with industry peers every year. And we've built some really good relationships and collaborated on some fantastic pieces of work with agencies of different disciplines as a result of this. So that's effectively the why. Whilst I'm here, I'll give you the sort of state of the nation update as well in terms of how the coronavirus has been impacting on market research. Like all sectors, you know, we've been impacted in different ways. I'd obviously be not telling the truth without saying there's been some negative impact, of course. And I think, like a lot of organisations, it sort of depends on the sectors in which you operate. You know, the breadth of the sectors in which must operate has been helpful for us. It's been boom time, I suppose, for clients in the food and drink sector, for example, but very tricky times for some of our clients in leisure and tourism. As you can probably imagine, don't anybody think about commissioning any face-to-face focus groups at the moment, because they're not happening. But luckily, the move from traditional research to digital methods such as online communities, online research communities, online surveys, smartphone ethnography, of course, as well. Those are now sort of well established and getting plenty of use. I suppose it's just worth sort of saying and closing on that point, really. If the time is right, then online communities and online surveys it's as good a time as any to use those methods. You know, people have a lot of time on their hands. A project we've just wrapped up for a snack manufacturer. The participants had sort of committed to 2 or 3 hours on the online community. We just closed the project, and every research participant had given an average of 6 hours. So people are sat there and obviously happy and willing to do research. So that's where we're at, and still, like a lot of organisations, we can't second guess, taking it a day at a time, I suppose. I think that's my 3 minutes. I'll hand you back to David, who will, I think, now give us the 50 through to 30, 31.
50,
Is that right?
that's right. Yeah, thanks, Richard. Thanks for
No
that.
problem.
And indeed so. Yeah, well, I can feel the virtual tension in the air, so I will crack on straight away with the 50 to 31, assuming that I can work the slides, that is. So let's get this. Okay, so at number 50 is Lancaster agency SQ Digital. Number 49, Leeds-based Blueclaw. 48, it's a slow reveal, this one. Tension is palpable. It's Manchester's Return. That's right. It was well worth waiting for, certainly for Return, who are number 48. So let's hope the slide speed increases slightly, but such is the technology that we have. So we
and David, they're appearing online. I'm not sure if it's the same for us.
Are they indeed? Right. Okay. Okay. Well, I can certainly continue to read them out. Right. Okay. Well, everyone seems to be able to read them out, so that's good. So I will just crack on then through them. So we've got at number 47, we've got Tangent from Newcastle. And number 46, Manchester's PushON. Number 45, Leeds agency Bolser. 44 is Shout Digital from Newcastle. 43 is Sheffield's The SEO Works. A new entry this year at number 40. So let me absolutely sure with this one. So yeah, 43 is Space 48. 42, The SEO Works. A new entry at 41 is Netsells in York. Another Yorkshire agency is at 40. That's Parallax in Leeds. Kagool in Manchester, up 10 places on last year to number 39. Bolton's Bring Digital, up 3 to 38. Clicky Media from Chester is at 37. Ampersand in Manchester is at 36. Then it's Enigma in Newcastle at 35. Sigma Consulting Solutions from Macclesfield is at number 34. Enjoy Digital in Leeds is at 33. Manchester's Mosquito Digital is at 32. And in at a new entry at 31 is 9XB. So well done to all those so far in that list. So now at this point, what I'd like to do is to bring in our two special guests this afternoon. Dean Benson, CEO of Teesside headquartered Visualsoft, and Chris Attewell, CEO of Leeds-based Search Laboratory. So as I say, I mentioned before, please do feel free to ask questions using the chat function, and we'll try and pick those up at the end. But I'd like to start off with this one, guys, and perhaps Dean, if you could kick this one off. I mean, be as candid as you like, but how challenging has the past 2 months of lockdown been?
Yeah, thank you. First of all, I do seem to have a bad Zoom day, so if I drop out, will you just let me know and I'll turn video off so you can hear me still?
Will do.
Also, before I start, I think it's probably worthwhile me recognising how bad this virus is and how serious the whole subject of health is. I just want to be conscious of that. We're in a business event and we're talking about good news, but I just want to be conscious that this has affected many people's lives. So thoughts very much with everybody. Secondly, thank you for letting me be a part of this as well. I'm surrounded in a room full of amazing people, so thank you. In answer to your question, how challenging has it been? Amazingly challenging. This is the most challenging thing every business has ever faced. We've gone from running a digital agency right the way through to March, and all of a sudden you have to work remotely. So we had to work with the staff, the people. We had to be agile. We have to make sure that our workforce can work from home. Luckily for us, it's something we've done for about 10 years now, work from home. So it wasn't a big change, but it put us in a really good position to help lots of other businesses and give them advice too.
Thanks, Dean. Same question to you, Chris.
Thank you. And yeah, thanks also for inviting me. To echo what Dean said, I mean, up until March, we were cracking on as normal with our longer term plans. We'd reset our strategy towards the back end of last year with a 3-year goal and put some growth targets around it. And we were doing a good job of working towards that, and then all of a sudden we go from going out and looking for new business to all of a sudden we're more about retention and minimizing client pauses and reductions in campaign fees overnight. So yeah, it's been huge. I mean, the working from home thing equally, we'd set ourselves up to be able to do it over a long period of time. So, we hadn't necessarily tested that model in the way that other people had, but we definitely put the work into making sure that it was doable. So that, I mean, as much as that has been a bit of a challenge, and I may be downplaying the work that our tech team have done on that one, but I mean, it's been pretty smooth. The challenge, as I say, is, that switch of mindset overnight, more or less, from growth towards retention and just making sure that we're steering the ship through a difficult time. But huge challenge, huge.
And Chris, what have you learnt, would you say, about your agency?
Yeah, it's a good one.
Over these past few weeks.
I mean, you learn so much in these kind of times. In challenging times, you really see what everyone's made of and what we're made of as an agency. I think one of the things I'm most impressed by and most proud of is just how resilient the teams have been. Whether that's people potentially who live alone, working at home alone, resilience around the uncertainty that we have out there in the market and in the country, globally, and also within our business. And yeah, everyone's just been getting on with it. I think that the other thing that I've been really impressed with, and I mean, this is not so much a learning because I kind of knew it anyway, but we have a really, really good finance team, and being able to quickly get a view of where you stand financially and how things forecast. I mean, I've always known that that's important, but our finance team have really come into their own in providing, weekly detailed trading forecasts that we can go through in a weekly meeting and make decisions based on that. And I think if you don't have that kind of information handy, I can imagine it will be a really, really challenging time at the moment.
Thanks, Chris. The same question to you, I guess, Dean. I mean, what have you learned about the way that you operate at Visualsoft?
I think, like Chris has just said, it is about the people. There's so many unsung heroes for all of this from every department within our company. People do stand out, and the agility and the speed of information, the speed of communication. 6 months ago, nobody was using video. Now we're all speaking to each other every day and communicating on video, which is amazing to see. And the other thing I think is like a real good learn as well is how close agencies are. We're not competitors. We're all in this market together. We're all out there to help our clients, and how we've all collaborated and how we've broken down barriers. Launching things like we've launched a partner hub, which brings all digital agencies together. It's just nice to see collaboration and agility and real thought for each other throughout this whole time.
Sure. Thanks, Dean. I mean, you were right to say at the start that obviously this is very much we've got to keep things in perspective here. The main issue has been the health one, and our thoughts are obviously on that front. But from a business perspective, it's been a difficult time, but it's also been a time of opportunity as well for some clients. And I just wonder to what extent you're working with people who are very much seeing this as an opportunity.
I can jump.
Yeah, I mean, we're fortunate.
Yeah. Chris, do you want to take it, Chris, initially?
Yeah, I will do. Yeah, sorry, Dean. I think we've got a whole range of clients across a number of different industries, and some of them have been hit much harder than others. We do have some in travel, in cruise lines, for example, where obviously there's not much of a market there. But we do have pockets of clients who are doing really, really well. We have an online greetings card client who obviously at the moment, when people can't buy cards readily, they've had to reduce spend on marketing because they can't keep up with demand. We had the same with a plant-based delivery box company who had to stop advertising because they just couldn't keep up with demand. We quite a large adult toy and lingerie company who are doing fantastically well online at the moment, despite maybe the retail side of things generally struggling. So, there are pockets of it, absolutely. I think in terms of our business as well, as much as we do have a very big eye on the current situation, we see this as an opportunity, or we're looking for the opportunities in it to be able to come out of it in a stronger position than going into it. So I guess some of it is dictated by the market and by the particular sector that people are in, but I do think there's a bit of a mindset there as well, that if you look at it with a view of the longer term opportunity and where you can come out of it in a stronger position, then that puts you in a much better position to do so.
Yeah, and Dean, have you seen much of that mindset in terms of using this as an opportunity, and the way your clients are trying to deal with this whole situation?
Yeah, it's interesting. We've got something like 1,000 clients split between various sectors. So when lockdown first happened, certain sectors were affected worse than others, and certain sectors were flying. So things like events and weddings and so on. Fancy dress was one that was particularly hit at the start. And as the time's gone on, and as the evolution and job securities that carried on throughout the past few weeks, certain sectors have come back. Fancy dress, for example, has come back because they've adapted the business model. People are staying in now and having parties because we know we're in this for a while. So we get to see daily sector analytics, which lets us basically see how the country's reacting to this lockdown and how we're all, like I said earlier, just adapting with things as well.
I wonder how much Joe Wicks has helped with your fancy dress client. Fancy dress Friday with Joe Wicks every week. That must have helped provide a bit of business, I'm sure. And just on that, I mean, have you seen that there's been a particular demand for any of your services during this period? Has there been a spike in certain services that you offer?
Yeah, I mean, certainly in the strategy and advice. So everybody wants to know what everybody else is doing and has done. So sharing that information from a strategic point of view has been really important. So a cycling shop wondering what other cyclists have done, or other cycling shops. Fashion clients in what's everybody else doing? When do they shut the website down? When do they bring it back? When do they go on sale, for example? So I think what we've seen is again, access to communication and sharing of information has been huge.
Mm. And what about you, Chris? Have you seen a particular surge in interest for any of your service offering?
Yeah, I think as Dean says, strategy and insights, we absolutely have had the same kind of request from clients, and we're speaking to clients about what can help them out at the moment outside of just the services we're providing. Then it's wanting to know what's going on in the market and our competitors as well. I think that the other one that we've seen demand or we've gone out and spoken to clients about as well is insights and reporting, and making sure that, I mean, as I said about our own business, having our own reports and data ready to pull insights out of. We're a Google marketing platform reseller, so we do a lot of work with analytics and quite advanced analytics using Google Cloud, and setting up reports for clients is something we do a lot. But I guess it really puts it front of mind for clients, the importance of having not just the data sat there, but the insights and the actionable insights at their fingertips. So yeah, I'd say between general market insights and competitive insights and campaign insights and reporting, it's been those two areas really at the moment.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks guys for those initial thoughts. I think it's time to dive back into our top 50 and to our 30 to 11 positions. So at number 30, it's Engage Interactive in Leeds. Well done to them. 29, it's Manchester agency Cantarus. 28, it's Durham-based Leighton. 27 is Mando over there in Liverpool. 26th is Hedgehog Lab from Newcastle. A new entry at 25 this year is Regital. Good work, guys. 24 is Cheshire agency Click Consult. In at 23, straight in at 23, with bases in both Leeds and Manchester, is Journey Further. 22nd is Leeds-based Delete Agency. Degree 53 from Manchester is at 21. Fat Media from Lancaster is at 20th. At 19 from Leeds is Fusion Unlimited. Number 18 this year is Manchester-based CTI Digital. And another Manchester agency, Active Win, is at number 17. Newcastle agency, Mediaworks, is 16th. Padme from Manchester is up a whole 13 places this year to 15th. ICS Media Group from Leeds is up 7 places to 14th. And at 13 is Newcastle agency Think. At 12 is Code Computerlove from Manchester. And then up 18 places this year to number 11. Got bases in Manchester, Leeds and Halifax. And that's And Digital. So great showing from them this year. So let's head back to our special guests today. That's Dean Benson, CEO of Visualsoft, and Chris Attewell, CEO of Search Laboratory. So I was wondering, obviously we can see how we're having to operate today, and we've all had to adjust to a new way of working in all our companies. And so I was just wondering, how much harder has it been for an agency leader to lead remotely? Chris, do you want to take that one initially?
Yeah, sure. I think as far as Search Laboratory is concerned, we're very much a leadership group and a leadership team. So we, as a team, we probably speak a lot more than we would normally in the office. I think we started off having daily board meetings. We've now relaxed that a bit as things have slipped back more towards business as usual. But I guess generally I feel like generally we are open and transparent in the way that we communicate with staff, but we've had to be a lot more open in sharing information and communicating with staff, and they value it. We've had feedback that it's what they value generally, but more so at the moment when there is that uncertainty. So as much as you can't be visible walking around the office and chatting to people and building up those day-to-day connections, you can be more visible and you can communicate in a much more open way around decisions that we're making and performance and particular client campaigns and what's going on. So yeah, it has thrown up its challenges. I think we've adapted to them very well, and the feedback that we had from staff has been positive in the way that we've been able to communicate through this period.
Thanks for that, Chris. And same question to you, Dean.
Yeah, I wouldn't use the word it's harder. I'd use the word it's different. And we're all talking about what new norm looks like. And like Chris mentioned there, we started off having daily board meetings. We had 3 emails a week going out from me to all staff. And that's been the key to this, is communication, honesty, humbleness, keeping up to date with information, telling people how it impacts them. So we put a very clear message out last week to all of the staff, and we said, you come home for the rest of the year without question. Your jobs are safe. You've had a job before this. There will be no job losses throughout this process because of COVID. And And also, we're going to reopen our offices very soon as well. So we're just working on the plan now. So just being honest about how that impacts people, how it makes them feel, people's mental health. It's not been any more difficult. Like I said, it's just been done in a different way. Some more video calls, many more phone calls. And if anything, we've learned an awful lot through it, and we will take those learnings forward too. Really exciting.
Thanks very much. I mean, do you think, Chris, that the relationship between an agency and the office has actually changed now, for good, potentially?
I'd say so. I mean, it was moving in that direction for kind of anyway, really, was in our view. You know, the technology's there to do it. I guess there's more and more of an expectation that it's part of normal working practices. You know, things like flexible working is more and more common. It's something that we do, and home working now. I mean, if anybody had a question mark as to whether it's possible in our industry, I guess now it's been proven that it can be done. We're still working through what the longer term picture looks like, because I personally feel like there's a lot of value in having an office, and you know, people, while we can do this at home, there's a lot of value in, especially when you have new starters, you know, they need to be in there and meet the team. We place a lot of value on culture and team spirit, and it's a lot more difficult to do from home. But yeah, generally, I mean, we have a large office in Leeds. We could fit 250 or so people in it, and I mean, it's great for social distancing. We could have people sitting 2 meters apart, but you know, if we were making a decision about the office space now, we might look at it differently, given the ability for people to work at home. But I guess a lot of it is going to depend on what happens over the next few months, and what the guidelines and regulations are around going back into the office, and what level of work's required to make the office safe and fit for the staff to return. But yeah, it's definitely going to change. I mean, it can be done, can't it, home working? I mean, it has challenges, but I don't think anybody can turn around now and say that it can't be done.
Sure. And I mean, can you sort of maybe talk us through some of the things that you've been doing to try and sort of retain that company culture?
Yeah, sure. I mean, we always have a company, all company meeting on a Friday, which is normally standing up in front of the company. So, you know, that's been a video call, which has been fun. We've had things like virtual pub quizzes. We've done various baking challenges and fitness challenges. We had a CrossFit style company challenge that anybody who wanted to get involved in could. So I guess, you know, there's a lot of, we use Microsoft Teams, so there's a lot of heavy usage of Teams and people messaging back and forwards. I guess, I mean, the communication part of it, through, you know, facilitating that communication and promoting communication amongst the staff is a big thing. But I think a lot of the culture comes down to the communication and the openness that everybody has as a business. And, you know, to Dean's point before about just making sure that the people's mental well-being is taken into consideration in the way that we communicate information, and you know, the way that we make decisions. I think that's a key thing, really. I mean, we may not all be in the same place, but everybody is in the same boat, and we're all working towards the same thing.
And yeah, and Dean, same to you then. So, you know, what's your view on that relationship between the agency and the office?
So, of all the bad that's come out of COVID, this is definitely one of the positives that's come out of it. And I'm a massive advocate, personally and professionally, for flexible working of all kinds, and we've done that en masse since 2014. So the relationship with the office is a blend, and it should always be a blend. If you want to work from an office and you can get a job done, great. If you want to work from home and you can get a job done, great. If you want to work in coffee, fine. The future, although we're now in lockdown and still in acquisition, we surveyed all of our staff, and there's about 10% of people right now who would like us to reopen the office, which is something that we're working towards. So it's interesting. Some people see it as a benefit working from home, and some see it as a benefit having an office in a nice environment. So it is definitely about the blend between, can you work at home, can you work at work, and people's personal situation, childcare. It can be all kind of things that add into what works best for the member of staff, what time of day, and what creates happiness within staff, and what creates good output, good productivity as well.
Yeah, and we've got a question here from Lee, who's asking, is anyone doing anything for the greater good during this time? Says it's not necessarily as obvious an option as compared to, say, companies repurposing to make ventilators or Microsoft making Teams free, etc. But he'd be interested if anyone has identified some ways in which we can contribute as digital agencies.
Yes, I don't mind answering that one. So we've, I mentioned at the start, I mean, this isn't saving the world, and we're not creating ventilators or anything like that, but we are bringing digital agencies together in what I mentioned earlier with Partner Hub, and that's basically a one-stop shop where clients can find the best service and the best partner for them, and all working collaboratively. And I think if we do work collaboratively together for the benefit of our clients, seeing our clients who are a lot are in retail right now, let's see them through it, let's give them a real push towards the best they can and the best result, best sales they can get. So we've taken that project on board for the benefit of the community, and we really want to see us all work together. Really excited by working with everyone.
And same with you, Chris. What about your what you're doing at Search Laboratory? Is it, have you would you say that you were able to do anything for the greater good at the moment?
Yeah, well, we do a lot for community in general, and we have a charity of the year every year. Actually, this timing wise was probably quite good in the way that we were able to help out, because our charity this year is Leeds Cares, which is an NHS charity as part of the Leeds hospitals. So we've been, even before this, we donate all of our fundraising efforts to Leeds Cares. We donate time as well and services to help with their website and social media and various things. But I guess in this period, we've been, staff have been volunteering time. We've been putting together or helping them put together, I guess, by donating food, care packages for NHS workers. So yeah, that's something that our staff feel very strongly about. We take a lot of time in choosing our charities each year. And like I say, timing wise, it was very fortunate that it was the charity we picked anyway, obviously not knowing that this was going to come about. But I guess we're very glad at the moment to be able to directly impact and help at a local level with the NHS. And like I say, it's something that staff see a lot of value in as well, and give us a lot of good feedback for.
Good to hear. As is the way with these things sometimes, I think it's called Sod's Law. I'm having some issue with my my laptop, so if I just momentarily drop off and come back in, then you'll know why. But let me kick both of you off with this question, and you can be you can go on as long as you like. But if you were starting a digital agency from scratch in the post-COVID era, what would it look like? And Dean, do you want to take that one?
Yeah, it's been 21, nearly 22 years since I started Visualsoft, so I'm going to have to rewind a little bit and try and think what it was like to start a company back then, and what I would do different, and how it would feel starting a company now. The challenge that people are going to face, and the opportunity and challenge, I guess, is around culture. We've started recruiting people now remotely with never meeting people, and that's really interesting how a company can be formed and a company can be started without physically meeting people. So I think that the opportunities around culture and how the new world that we live in, and specifically life after lockdown, companies will be created. We've got the geographical restrictions. So we're in the north of England, we're recruiting north of England. We can now recruit worldwide because there's only a screen from recruiting and connecting to more people. So loads more opportunity for people starting now. You haven't necessarily got to have an office anymore. It's nice to have, but lots of people have what I have the army now, which is your kitchen, your front room or whatever. So, and that's socially acceptable now, whereas maybe a few months ago just said, let's be a bit more professional and have an office and so on. Well, we haven't got to be anymore because the world's adapted and the world's rolled on quite quick, many years ahead, quite fast as well.
Yeah, I'll jump in after that. I'm not sure if Dave is still there, still trying to work his tech issues. I'll jump in there anyway. I'd echo those points. I guess we'd have to think a little bit differently about how we build that culture. We have an existing culture that it's about maintaining now, and we've done the good work to get to this point so that we can continue that even through working at home. Yeah, the office one, we maybe wouldn't have an office that would fit 250 people if we've got a lot of people working at home. I think the thing that I see maybe as being a bit different coming out of this is in the way that clients want to consume services, and they're looking for a lot more flexibility in how they engage with agencies. So whereas before it may have been more of a fixed retained service, I think people are going to want and expect to be able to buy more piecemeal moving forward. So I guess that I'd factor that into any plans, if we were starting again. I also think, we're basing decisions on what we know at the moment, and we're going to have to see what happens over the next few months and what things look like when we come out of this. And it may be too difficult to predict with certainty what we would do at that point. But there's a lot to learn from this, definitely.
Good stuff. Right. Well, the crisis with the has been averted with my with my feed, but so I'm back on. Hopefully you can still see me. Is that right?
We can see you. Yeah. No slides left at the moment.
No slides. No. Right. Well, we might have to just bash on without the slides, so that they seem to disappear. Anyway, that's not a problem because I have managed to take the liberty of writing out the top 10 in front of me, predicting exactly this scenario. So there we go. There's a bit of prep for you. So thanks for those. Thanks for that insight, guys. That was really interesting. I hope other people felt that too. And if there are any more questions, then do feel free to chat through. Send them on the chat function there. But we come on to the top 10, and the top 10, as we've done the 50 through to 11, and here are the top 10 leading digital agencies in the North. So at 10, the first of an unbelievable 8 Yorkshire agencies in the top 10 this year is Summit Media from Hull. At number 9 from Leeds is Epiphany, part of J-Wing. At number 8 is CDS from Leeds, who are owned by the Baird Group. Up 3 places this year to 7 is 26 Digital, another Leeds agency. And up 2 to 6, another for Leeds, is Edit. Search Laboratory holds on to its place in the top 5 this year at number 5. So well done, Chris.
Thank you.
Harrogate's IDHL Group is at number 4. Dept from Manchester is up 2 places to number 3, which means that holding on to the number 2 spot, congratulations, Dean, is Visualsoft.
Thank you.
Which means that, once again, our number 1 digital agency of the year for 2020 is Leeds agency Sticky Eyes. So a huge well done to Sticky Eyes, and indeed to all the agencies who made it into this year's top 50. We will be publishing the list in full on the Prolific North website tomorrow morning, and when any agency on the list will be able to download a special badge to mark their achievement. Today's session has also been recorded, and we're making a recording available on the website tomorrow as well. Before we go, can I just flag up to you that later on this year, Prolific North will be launching the first, well, our first ever print title, believe it or not. We're launching the Northern Agency Guide, and which will be, we very much hope, the indispensable guide to the digital PR and integrated agencies in the region. So various ways in which any digital agency in the North can be involved. So do let us know if you'd like more details, more info about that on the website. So we're in good time here, so we're not going to get cut off. I'm absolutely delighted that my technology setup here is not completely conked out, which it was threatening to do at one point. So thanks for that, ASUS. But all that remains now is to thank our research partners once again. Thanks, Richard, and everyone at Mustard Research for your hard work in pulling this together. And a big virtual round of applause to our special guest today. That's Dean, CEO at Visualsoft, and Chris, CEO at Search Laboratory. Thanks a lot, guys. Thanks for putting your help with today and your insights today. It's been much appreciated. And to everyone else out there, thanks for taking 47 minutes out of your Thursday afternoon to take part. I hope you found it useful and something that you can implement in your own agencies. So all the best to everyone, and enjoy the bank holiday weekend.
Thanks very much.
That's great.
Cheers, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.